went after Trump, his own little baby girl is right there. So we're exposing this, and now where we have to follow up, Bondi's put out timelines, right? We have actionable timelines and items. She's like, I want this stuff on my desk by 8 a.m. tomorrow. So tomorrow we should hear from Bondi. I either got the stuff or she should be sending people into SDNY, or people should be getting their walking papers, right? And then she gave Cash, she was like, hey, Cash, you weren't there when this request happened, but now that you're there, you have 14 days to investigate these assholes and tell me what happened and give me recommendations for the people involved. So that's huge. So our job is to follow up and keep track of those timelines and see if what Bondi's requested gets done and followed up on by her if it doesn't get done.
I agree 100%. I think there is more to this. I think that from the way this was rolled out today, I think Trump always is a move or two ahead. I think they used this event today to flush out the SDNY. I think that they used it to prop up some of the alternative media. But this is not over. Honestly, it's just starting. They've just gotten a hold of all the evidence, all the information. They just took office. I think they're realizing that the Biden administration did nothing with this information, and they have to start a brand new serious criminal investigation. And that's going to take some time to build that case.
All right. Hey, Kim, can you help me? I'm like,
yes. Go ahead, Commander.
Hey, JP or the panel, is the Wiener laptop also somehow connected with the Southern District of New York? Does anyone know that answer?
Wiener and Hunter Biden laptop, right? Because they sat on that. They got the Hunter Biden laptop in 2019 and didn't release anything, right? So they literally protected all of that information, knowing it was real, and allowed those the intelligence agency people to come out and say that it was Russian disinformation when they knew damn well that it wasn't Russian disinformation.
And also, wasn't Southern District New York the office that the one guy left DOJ to help the state of New York prosecute Trump?
No, he came out in Main Justice. He was like the number 3 person in Main Justice.
There was some other people that came out of the SDNY though, if I recall correctly. I look, Trump definitely has the SDNY on his list of offices that need to be, let's just say, corrected. That was the main focus of lawfare from a federal, outside of Washington D.C. The SDNY did the bidding against Trump and his associates in Manhattan. I can see multiple reasons why the Trump administration would want to use this event to show that the SDNY, at the very least, was negligent in their job as the investigators, as the lawyers in charge of this very serious incident. So look at Pam Bondi's letter. That letter that was released today, directing Kash Patel to investigate the people at the SDNY for why they withheld evidence from the Attorney General of the United States. That's not just some inter-office, you get reprimanded, you have a bad mark on your file. You're talking about losing your law license, that you're talking about ethics violations. You're talking about criminal charges for obstruction of justice, official misconduct. This whole Epstein case, the way it's been rolled out and handled by the prior administration's Justice Department, is a black eye on the justice system of the federal government. And I hope Pam Bondi and Trump highlight it. And it looks like from that letter from Pam Bondi, that is going to happen. And we're going to see a lot of collaboration, and people are going to pay the price.
So JP, let me ask you, do you recall who used to be the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York that is somebody who's a confidant of the President of the United States?
No, I don't. Refresh my memory.
His name is Rudolph Giuliani.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And if you think for a minute that he doesn't have intimate working knowledge about how that stuff goes on up there,
100%, man. I mean, that office has been a thorn in the side of Republicans and just basically liberty for decades now. They've done the bidding of every major federal agency. They've pulled in people from Trump world. They've pulled in, if you do business, you are essentially tied to New York and to the Southern District of New York. Look at how people from all kinds of Trump world have been pulled into Manhattan because of, of course, from some nexus to New York. So for the bad guys to have a monopoly on the lawfare out of the Southern District is bad for liberty. It's bad for Trump. It's bad for Republicans. It needs to be rooted out. And perhaps the way that they handled this Epstein case is the way that we get them to held accountable.
I don't see any hands. I agree with you, JP. So you guys we can just open up the conversation. We are going to be having our candidate from New Jersey coming in at 7:30. So JP, I hope you'll stick around. Anybody else from New Jersey? We're going to have.
Hey, who is it?
Rich Castaldo.
What office is he running for?
Assembly. He's House Assembly. I don't know what district.
All right, he's running for assembly. That's cool. We got a big year here in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey. We've got the governor's race this year. Obviously, many of you have probably seen Scott Pressler focused on New Jersey, which is a huge blessing to our state. Our state is in such turmoil right now. The governor right now, Phil Murphy, just gave basically his state of the state address a couple days ago. He laid out a budget which is 67% higher than when he took office. He's spending 67% more money today than he did when he took office. He's allocating roughly $7 billion to help illegal immigrants in the state. New Jersey right now has roughly 1 out of 10 people living in New Jersey are illegal immigrants. They have come at a great cost to public education and public health and public services. And everything here just keeps costing more. They keep taxing us more. My property taxes are through the roof. The Board of Public Utilities just approved a 20% rate increase for electric and gas. Income taxes are going up. They're coming up with new taxes on new things. They just increased the gasoline tax 20 cents a gallon. They just increased basically every road you drive on in this state has a toll booth on it. They just increased the tolls 20% across the board. People cannot live here, and the state is dying under one-party Democrat rule. And we're hoping that we can change that this year in 2025 with a Republican governor.
And your current governor, isn't he the guy who spent all of his political capital trying to prosecute a gym owner during COVID?
100%. Yep.
But what is it like? The amount of the fine was just insane. It was like $15,000 a day.
I don't know the exact number, but that sounds about right. Yeah.
And yeah, and he got caught with his garage door open, admitting that he was harboring an illegal alien. And Tom Homan said that he was going to personally be sure that his housekeeper got a one-way ticket, back to where the hell she came. He is a piece of they have words for that in New Jersey, and I can't use them on air.
Well, he's another governor that we have received here from Wall Street. So effectively, New Jersey has been run by the Wall Street cartel and by the insurance lobby for quite a few decades. And it's unfortunate because they have sold us out to every corporate and public interest. Every corporate interest. You just can't find a government program that they don't like. There's one of the candidates running for governor, Spadia, has promised to have an NJ Doge if he wins, because I'm sure that we will find even worse, or at least the same kind of fraud and abuse in government spending that we have seen with Doge in Washington D.C. What's up, Augustus?
Yo, what's up, JP? What's up, Kim? What's up, Jennifer? Hey, everybody, welcome. Thanks for having me. Just wanted you to know, JP, that the candidate Rich Castaldo, Rich Primo from New Jersey, is actually my future brother-in-law, and he's fantastic, man. He's worked so many campaigns and won so many different campaigns on so many different levels, national, local, that he wouldn't run if he didn't know that he could win. And I believe in him. I think he can win, but we know he can win. And
what district is he in, Augusta?
13, District 13. And in New Jersey, I'm sure you know this, JP, they just removed the line. So a lot of the corruption that you were talking about within New Jersey is because of that, right? And they're basically the people in power created a system to stay in power, and that's just been deemed unconstitutional. So now that the line has been removed, he's got a real chance at winning and beating this corruption. I don't want to start talking shit on the other candidates and stuff, but you've got other candidates out there that are against a lot of the stuff that we stand for, American Mission stands for, and the Make America Healthy Again movement stands for. So he's not one of those guys. He is an America First candidate, a MAGA candidate, a MAHA candidate, and I'm just excited for him. I'll be working the campaign. And yeah, man, I'm just hyping him up right now. He should be joining us in like 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes. He's just finishing up at a charity event right now.
When you say remove the line, what is that? What do you mean? Sorry, I don't know.
The line system on the ballot.
So you're talking about the party line.
Yeah, so basically, hi, this is Augustus's fiance. Yeah, so there's a line system on the ballot. Basically, the county or the party will get to choose which candidates they want on that line. And instead of people just being able to run freely like it's done in most states, it's already like pre-selected by the party or whoever is running the party in a certain county or district. So it's like they already pre-select the names on there and most people just vote right down the line. So the incumbents pretty much just stay incumbents over and over and over again. And there's no chance for anybody else, any outsiders, to come in. But now that it's deemed unconstitutional, finally, now there's going to be real competition.
Boy, we're finding out just how archaic and like dictatorship we've seen. It's unbelievable how much stuff is coming out where you're like, that does not represent a democratic system at all. I mean, that's like some mafia stuff.
Yeah, well, the Democrat, Phil Murphy, he tried to use it to his advantage and keep another candidate out and actually put his wife in. And his opposing candidate ended up suing. And once it went to court, they struck it down. They struck the line system down because if
got greedy, huh?
Can just select who can go there, what the people want doesn't matter. So it's a disgusting way to run elections, and I'm glad it's finally been shot down.
So is this the first election that is going to have that, or where that's been taken out?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I know, exciting. A lot of things are going to change in Jersey, hopefully, with this one being one of those big changes. Let's start really getting. New Jersey really has the chance to get Maha candidates in, MAGA candidates in, and I really hope that the American people step up and don't just let corporations buy these seats. Like, we all got to step up and contribute to the candidates that we want to see in there and run for office. You know, why do people just not run for office? Go ahead, do it. Throw your name in, you know? That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's been this sense of, it's basically like you have to give up your whole life in order to do it, right? And we've got to get away from this, like, completely tear someone apart limb from limb if they've done any wrong small thing in their whole life. They just get raked over the coals. It's like nobody wants to put their life out there and do that. So, but I think that as the culture sort of changes and we kind of get these people off of pedestals and let them just be public servants, I think we can get a lot further. I do want to get to these hands and we can wrap up the FBI, SDNY talk. I mean, we're going to obviously go in and out of that, but before Rich gets here. So go ahead, No Rose, and then we'll go to Fed Up and then Stephanie.
Great. Yeah, I just wanted to respond to JP about all of the raising of taxes and all of that stuff in New Jersey. What you're going to find in the blue states, they're panicking because a lot of the slush fund from environmental, all of that stuff is we're talking like billions of dollars that go into their coffers for slush is going away. So the states are poor, and they're panicking that they don't have that money to throw around. So a lot of, the big projects that really were just boondoggles, if you've done any data Republican work, I urge you to use that tool and take a look at different New Jersey, EPA, New Jersey, all of that, and really start seeing the numbers. HHS, same thing, right? All that money's going away. The migrant housing, all of that dole is disappearing. They're in panic mode. So that's why you heard him chiming in about that. So it's going to get rough for a little bit here because the states are like really flipping out.
Well, we knew it was going to be a bumpy ride. I mean, and it's I'm surprised it's been as painless as it has been thus far. And I mean, we need to prepare ourselves for some pain.
Kim, part of this is because the downfall of the Irish mob in Patterson. If they'd been able to hang on, none of this garbage would be going on. They'd have it straightened out.
It's like we literally we have been living in a tax farm Ponzi. And what you just said about the states being broke, I think what Doge is revealing, and specifically with the USAID, is that this whole thing seems to be a house of cards. That the federal government is taking in $4 trillion a year. They're spending over $6 trillion a year, and they're sending money to every single state, NGO, country around the world. They're subsidizing every major industry with sweetheart contracts and deals with all these governments to prop up that economy, to prop up those industries. I mean, are we on the brink of realizing that this is a giant financial house of cards that is completely unsustainable? And do we have to rethink our entire taxation system and the way that we fund our government, the way that the government should operate in a way that's sustainable? I mean, this is why I think the federal government should be cut down 75%. It's just way too expensive. There's someone up here, Asclepius. I don't know how to say it. Do you have something to say? Oh, I don't know if he's on the stage.
Yeah, I don't see him on the stage. He's requesting, but we don't have any room right now.
Can I just respond to JP too, or add to JP?
Go for it.
That it goes way beyond USAID, guys. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars of slush funds of taxpayer money going to states for all of these programs for every division, energy to EPA to mining to just these ridiculous projects that they're all fake. It's almost.
Meanwhile,
like
everything's falling apart. All of our infrastructure is falling apart.
Correct.
You can't drive your car down a road without, having to replace the tires every, 6 months. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, when I read that Maine or Massachusetts, I forget which state started crying the blues. I think it was Maine. When you realize that the state budgets, it's almost 50% of the state budgets are federal or even more. That's bad. That means that, and where is all that money going? Because it sure as hell isn't going to infrastructure, which they always claim it is. It's not going to environmental. Where is it going? And that's the big concern, just like the USAID stuff. Where is this money going to? It's like the Social Security stuff. Where and who is this money going to? Where's it going? It's like it's propping up a banking system that, is, I don't know yet. Hopefully they're going to see what's going on over time here. But
I mean,
honestly,
it costs money to traffic 2 million children a year.
Well, I can tell you one thing: they're definitely doing the wine, dine, and getting their pockets lined. I can tell you that. But in New York, listen, the corruption is no further than New Jersey. I mean, Rudy Giuliani might have ruled out the mob, but the mob basically became the fucking part of the law enforcement. So it's like Cash Patel says, government gangsters here.
I want to welcome Rich to the stage. Welcome, Rich. Nice to see you. We're excited you're here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And I apologize for being a little bit late. I'm at a charity event, a really, really good event with real good people. And thank you for taking the time to have me on tonight.
Hi, Rich. Nice to meet you. Augustus has told us all about you. So if you could just start off by giving us kind of who you are, why you're running, and just a little bit of background information. And if everybody could please replace the space, because this is also part of having spaces, is introducing good candidates from all over the country who need to get into office. And this is the game the Democrats play, and we need to start playing it. So, Rich, thanks for being here.
No, Jennifer, thanks so much. And so my name is Rich Castaldo. I'm from New Jersey. I'm originally from New York, and I've been living in New Jersey for about 15 years now. I'm out here in Monmouth County. It's a very, very nice area. And in New Jersey, as you know, we have a lot of problems out here. It's a Democrat-controlled state. It's a state that has a lot of issues financially, with taxes, with a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. So in my district, I'm not happy with who's representing us. So I decided, after consulting with, Stephanie and Augustus and my family, I said, you know what? It's time for me to step up. It's time for me to, take the heat, stand in the way, take the barrage of whatever they're going to throw at me. But I need to go out there and push a message that supports President Trump, that fights for, our freedom and our Constitution, and make sure that, we're not going to sit there silently while we see our state and our country be destroyed. So I stepped up. I'm ready to roll. I'm out here every day. I'm meeting people. There are so many like-minded, amazing people that are happy to join the movement. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to be very bold about it and very strong about it. And we're going to win.
So is the seat?
Sorry, just dishing food out. JP, can you? Can you jump in?
Nice to meet you, Rich. I'm JP. I'm also from New Jersey. I'm in the county south of you. I'm down in Ocean County. I had the pleasure of meeting Augustus down in Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. So welcome to the stage. Welcome to our space here. I'm happy to hear about your candidacy. I had just a few basic questions. Like, are you running? Is the seat open, or are you going against an incumbent? Like, what's the status of everything right now?
Sure. Nice to meet you as well, JP. I'm actually in Asbury Park right now. So I'm probably not too far from you. So it's a seat that's controlled by two Republicans. I'm running in the primary. So I'm challenging one of the two Republicans because I'm not happy with their performance, and they're soft on a lot of issues that I think are non-negotiable. And a lot of those issues are things that we probably all agree on, which is having a strong country, which filters down to the states, right? If you don't do the right thing in your states, it's basically a microcosm of the country. So I'm not happy with what I see. I think we can do a lot better. I think I'm a better fit for the district, for the people out here. When I speak to them, they're not happy with the representation. So, it's always a tough challenge to challenge someone who's in office already, especially from the same party and has a machine behind them. But this is not going to be an easy fight, but we have a direct path to victory. And that's why I've decided to step up and do it.
That's awesome. I've been involved in New Jersey politics just as a volunteer. I've worked as a campaign manager in some local races, and my take on the state is that we have very few active, like constitutional conservatives in power. The Republican Party in the state, to me, is almost like a moderate independent type party, where the Democrat Party is radical left, and I don't really see the kind of pushback, and I don't see the kind of passion or protest that we need from the Republican Party. It's because it's like they just roll over. And a lot of them just vote with Democrats to keep a seat at the table. So it is an uphill battle to come in as a disruptor and someone who wants to affect change. So what are some of the top policies that you see that need to be addressed in both your district and across the state?
Absolutely. Well, look, I wholeheartedly agree. I am a constitutional conservative. I believe in upholding the Constitution and not bending at any time when you get pressure. And I agree. And that's why I'm stepping up, is because I don't think our leadership has done what they need to do. I think the Democrats have done a really good job of beating down Republicans, and so many Republicans capitulate and they get soft and they don't want to fight back and they want to play nice. They go along to get along. I ain't that guy. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy who makes sure that we fight for what we know is right. And if it takes me to get out there and scream and yell about it and do what I have to do, that's what I'm going to do when I'm in the assembly. Now, as far as my policies, I'm right away going to attack the fact that we are not taking care of the people who are most dear to us, which are our veterans, our seniors, the children in schools. I'm not happy with what I see with the property taxes out here. It's I believe that taxing so much is theft from the people. People are working really hard to make a living in an economy that's not good and hasn't been good for a while, and then their property taxes are getting higher and higher and higher. It's just taking more money out of your pocket. So the American dream is becoming squeezed so tight. Like, how do you live in a country that's supposed to be the greatest nation on earth, which I believe it is, but why is it turning into a place where we're overtaxed, over medicated and overfed, right? I think there's a lot of issues. So what I'm proposing initially is, number one, I'm going to stand with President Trump and his policies on a state level and support him, because we're not getting enough support from the elected Republicans. I'm going to also propose that we do a 50% property tax discount up to $10,000 for veterans that are seniors, because the veterans are the best of us. And, they're on, a lot of them are on fixed incomes. A lot of them have heavy medical bills and not getting the care they need. And their property taxes are rising and rising and rising. We want to take care of them first. I'm absolutely going to start proposing bills to make sure that we don't have men and women's sports, because out here in New Jersey, they're going to defy the orders of President Trump. And I'm going to keep going to make sure that economically we give opportunity to everyone who's out here, and make sure that we don't give handouts, but we give opportunity. So those are the forefront of what I'm running on. And then if you go on my website, I have a list of all things that I believe we can start to implement once I'm into elected office.
That sounds like a good plan to me. I had a question. So before you came in, we were talking about the, obviously the Epstein list and SDNY and what Pam Bondi did today, and how the corruption, it's so entwined in this at the state level as well, and it really needs to be rooted out. So what's your plans on that?
Oh, absolutely. And the trouble we have in New Jersey is that we are right now, we have a Democrat, obviously, attorney general, who's done some things that are not good. And one thing that I'm calling for that will be a lot of economic benefit, but could also be there could be a facet of it that kind of makes sure that we're doing the right thing constitutionally and to see the corruption out of the state, because it's a very corrupt state. And I propose an NJ Doge. So, we need, I think every state should have it, to be honest with you, but I think the Doge department in the state can be a department that makes sure that not only the economics the money's being spent well and the economics are on point, but also that the Constitution is being followed and people need to be held accountable. The problem is this day and age, you see a lot of these Democrats that just disregard the Constitution. And when it comes to hating on President Trump or Republicans, they'll just say or do whatever they want to do and they don't care. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. There has to be non-negotiables when it comes to the Constitution. When things go to court and there's interpretations, fine. This is how it works. But we need to make sure that in this state that economically our money isn't being wasted on things that it shouldn't be spent on. We need to make sure that our constitutional rights are not being trampled on by a rogue attorney general or people that are in power that have no accountability. So I'm proposing that as well. And another thing, when it comes to that's hand in hand, I say it's kind of it's going to be something I attach to the Doge policy. Is I want to be one of the first people to present a New Jersey strategic Bitcoin reserve. And the reason why I want to do that is because I believe that if we start investing into something like that, when we have these budget issues, we have a reserve that we have made really smart decisions on in investing, rather than investing that money into ridiculous, insane policies that just burn money and we get nothing but, bad results from.
I can just hear the screams in Trenton now if we start to audit the state government. If we start to audit this state government, the screams are going to be comparable to Washington, D.C., because we know the cronyism and the waste and the fraud. I mean, I can't drive down a street without seeing some state office of some type. I mean, they're everywhere. And the taxes are insane, man. I mean, just do the math. I have a very modest, single family home in a rural area in Ocean County. I pay $15,000 a year in property tax. That's essentially rent, and I know that it's a lot higher in other towns up north and stuff, but it's $15,000 a year for the privilege of owning a home in New Jersey. If you pay that over 40 years, that's $600,000. And if you were able to just save that with modest interest, you have, I haven't done the compound interest calculation, but I think it's probably like close to $2 million. So they're robbing us of our retirement. They're robbing our kids of their inheritance. And it's just going to just flat out waste, fraud, and abuse. So yeah, getting the taxes down is key. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Ian, thank you for joining us. Is there anything you would like to ask Rich?
I don't know how good my audio is. I'm just out driving and running errands, so I figured I'd pop in and listen and hang with you guys while I'm doing that. So don't feel like you need to pass the mic to me. This is a great conversation, and there's no reason for me to derail it. I think there's never enough conversations about local office and about actually doing the political work to change the country. So I'm just a fan of the conversation and stoked to hear it. I don't think I have enough context. I think I came in too late to ask questions that haven't already been asked and such. So I think y'all should just keep on moving. So I'm gonna have to bounce out here in about three or 4 minutes anyway. So I'm just glad to listen and hang with you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Ian. We really appreciate you. Go ahead, Augustus.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ian. Appreciate you, bro. Rich is running for state assembly in New Jersey, and he's my brother-in-law. So this is a family first, country first, campaign. So just wanted to say thanks again for coming through, Ian. You're the best. Appreciate you, bro.
Well, Rich, I have a question. What can you do about no garbage bags in your grocery bags in New Jersey? Okay, like that has to be one of the most retarded policies I have ever seen, that they don't, and you end up having all these cloth bags that, at least for me, because I didn't grow up in New Jersey, but I lived there for a while, that I was constantly getting cloth bags because I never remembered that there was no plastic bags. So what can we do about this?
You know what? I get this question a lot, believe it or not. And I think it's just the asinine, insane policies of the left, really. I mean, this is not like classic liberalism. This is like just micromanaging and trying to get involved with the most ridiculous, insane things. I'll be honest with you. I think the Doge policy and something that JP touched on is looking at the fraud, waste, and abuse. I think we'll find out why they're doing this stuff because I think someone's benefiting from it because it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard or seen. Now, if there's a major reason behind it, you find out there's carcinogens in the plastic or whatever the case is, which, you could always debate or find out. But this is more of an issue trying to appease the far, far left that thinks they're doing something for the environment. When like you had just said, I have a closet full of like 300 because I always forget it. And now I have to get another one. And then now I have all these bags falling all over the place. It's insane. The only thing we can do is just get into office, propose a bill to repeal it. I know it's like New York. I didn't understand why, they're banning plastic straws, but they're handing out heroin needles. I mean, so it doesn't make any sense. They're going after things that are just ridiculous. Sometimes you see the policies and you're like, are these real policies or are these policies made to just to make fun of people? Like, look what we can do because we don't care. So it has to come from an assembly bill that basically says enough with the ridiculous, these ridiculous laws and whatever it is. And let's find out who benefited from this. Let's find out who got a contract to make a lot of these bags. And then we'll probably find out why they did it.
Exactly. Everything that we're seeing Doge unveil in Washington, D.C., I guarantee you it's the same exact thing on a state level in every blue state. Probably worse because the states have, I think, a lot more leeway to move around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Jen, JP, yeah, can I say something real quick? It's kind of important. Is that okay? I don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
It has to do with New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about New Jersey. I've been listening to Rich, and I know Augustus real well, and the Club Maha. I definitely have supported them or whatnot, and I'm about that, and we can get into that. But I do got something to say to Ian. As far as his work.
No, sorry.
No, okay.
No,
well,
sorry.
I know it's not all about that. I can talk about like that, but I just wanted to, put a little something out there.
Like we literally have a candidate right now who we're trying to help get elected in New Jersey. So I really don't want to derail the comment. Like nothing, like no offense to you, but like I'm sorry, like no.
Okay. Yeah. But he dropped that anyway, and I was going to say and I was going to also like push you up too, Jennifer, for what you spoke up on in that space prior or whatever, because you know how it is right now, and you got to forgive me, like tensions are a little high and stuff like that. Everybody's on it, but everybody keep doing up the good work, man. And I see what y'all are doing down there with the Club Maha. I fully believe in definitely. The health is a big thing or whatnot. And if the guy right there, Rich, if you're talking about the fentanyl is killing over 100,000. I used to work at a 501c3 nonprofit organization that dealt with the behavioral health field, right? And here's the thing about it. I can count over of my patients, the people that I oversaw, over 50 have died since 2021 due to fentanyl. And it comes in the form of a pill, coke, like all the method, it is destroying our country, and it definitely has to be one of the top priority issues. So I'm glad that you're pushing that right there, because that is one thing that needs to be heard worldwide. It kills more people than, I mean, you got to think about 100,000 plus are dying of that, and a lot of them children, kids, just experimenting with drugs, maybe take a pressed pill, an Adderall or something, and passes. So continue to do the good work, brother.
Well, thanks for that. And just to touch on that, what I think that we need to get a lot harder on the people who are basically poisoning the country. I think Trump has it right. I think Trump has taken a very hardline approach to it, which we need to. But, I think at some point we need to stop coddling all of these people who, listen, there's a difference between addiction, because people brought these drugs into this country and basically got a lot of Americans addicted. And that, to me, there's something bigger going on here. This might be a 100-year plan by other countries to poison this country and to take out strong Americans that could be, really productive, strong Americans in this country, and to poison them. And I don't think that's far-fetched to believe. So I think we need to be a little bit more harsh on these people who are criminals who are bringing that into this country. I think we need to stop giving out, you know, light sentences, because if you look at the sentencing on this stuff, it's really light sentencing. You know, if you really want to deter it, I think we need to make examples of these people, and I think we need to be a little bit vicious, you know, with all due like, well, no respect to them, but with, you know, I'm trying to say it in a political way, but I think we need to be much harder.
The gold bars of Bob Menendez.
Well, you know, Gold Bar Menendez, we've known for a very, very, very long time, was a corrupt gentleman, but it just, you know, he gets a pass because, again, in New Jersey, people just go along to get along, and they just let him get a pass. There was a lot of things that are connected to him that needed to stay undercover, and this is the problem. You talk about organized crime and criminal networks. You know, we have corruption in New Jersey that's comparable, maybe even worse than organized crime. And it all has to be rooted out, and people have to be held accountable. And you know what? A lot of Republicans are too scared to say anything about it. That's one thing I will never be. I'm not going to be scared, because I have a daughter who's going to grow up in this state, and we need to make sure that, I want to make sure that her friends, the kids, anybody who has kids here or plans to have kids, we don't have to go to sleep worrying that some maniac out there is going to say, hey, try this, try that, and it's going to be laced, and God forbid something bad is going to happen, because that would be it. So I will do everything I can to stop that.
I have a question.
That hard truth, that unpopular opinion, I think it's growing. I think those kind of candidates, honestly, or anybody that's you know, back in that's what's increasing. People like, you know, to hear the realness of it. Like, we don't need the soft, I guess you say, like, political correctness. So I urge you to continue that mindset, and I commend you for it, sir.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
I got a question.
Go right ahead, Ms. Wood. As long as it's about New Jersey New Jersey stuff.
It's
okay,
about
cool.
New Jersey. I go to New Jersey a lot. I live up in New York, but as an assemblyman, are you aware of, like, the AIPAC money that's flowing into all of politics?
Yeah, I have limited knowledge on how deep it is, but
It's deep.
Yes, I kind of have an understanding of where it is and how much, you know, goes into it. And I'll just tell you this: I'm just not a fan of any foreign nation or any influence or any organization that puts another nation first. To have that much influence over elected officials or anybody. I think no matter what the nation is, you know, it's okay to have alliances. It's okay to stand with another nation and have an alliance that means a lot and protects, you know, both countries, and if it's beneficial to the United States. But I just am not a fan of having you know, an organization or anybody have the ability to sway Americans to vote against their own country's interests. So as long as that will never happen. All I can say is that will never happen with me. And as far as that organization that you mentioned, you know, I'm not an expert on what they do. I have a general knowledge of you know, kind of like what they do and how much they have influence in Congress. On the state level, I've yet to really have any interactions or know how deep they are on the state level. But again, I'll just say it straight up, and this is a blanket statement. I think Americans who are elected on the state level or in Congress or anywhere else need to make sure that their residents, their citizens, and their country are put first above anybody, any nation, because that's why you're serving the people. We didn't elect them to serve other nations. We elected them to serve us first and foremost.
Dude, that's awesome. That's actually the exact response I was hoping that I'd hear, because everybody keeps saying, like, oh, AIPAC Israel, blah blah blah, they're our greatest ally. What the hell do they do for us? You know? So I mean, I'm glad to hear you say that you're not gonna be a part of that, because it's affecting the way the America First agenda should be, especially for New Jersey, because New Jersey is rampant with crime, like you said. So how much of that is being turned a blind eye to because someone's flashing money at our politicians?
Rich, what do you think about the Democrats' push to have 16-year-olds start voting in the elections? I see that's starting in Newark, and they want to expand it to the rest of the state.
It doesn't surprise me. These Democrats will do whatever they can to ensure that they have perpetual power. And I say it all the time. They want, and it's on both sides, but the Democrats have really abused it. They're looking for something called perpetual unchecked power. And they start on the local level because what it does is it becomes kind of a like a litmus test of how they can figure out, while the attorneys start to figure out how they can justify 16-year-olds voting in presidential and congressional elections and all that. So this is something that I am totally against. And the reason why is because I just don't think that someone that age has the ability to make a decision that has that much impact yet, right? Like I think that 18 is the right age right now. I think that's the right age. I think at that age, at 16, there's not much knowledge. It's not everybody. I know some, I mean, outstanding 16-year-olds. I have a friend in North Jersey who can run circles around everyone, me included. If you ask him presidents and what they did, he's just a guru with this stuff, and he's ahead of his time. But I don't think the majority of 16-year-olds really understand what the power of a vote is and how much it can affect your daily life. And, you know, right now, I think we don't make any changes to that. And I think that's also a segue or a way to lead into illegal immigrants voting and into changing voting rules and to have like 2-month long, you know, I heard somebody propose a 30-day vote, like for 30 days, it's just a voting month instead of, you know, an election day. And, you know, a lot of these things are meant to make sure that they have perpetual unchecked power within the inner cities where they don't ever, they're never going to basically change the way they do things because it's too much of a power grip, too much money, and they want to make sure it never leaves their hand, their power. That's what they want. I'm against it, 100%.
Well, so Rich, you know, in light of the Epstein documents, you know, getting dropped today and you wanting to run for office, I must ask, okay, there's obviously nothing in your past, like you weren't like a secret, like, you know, super spy or something like that that's going to come out later that would hurt your chances.
No, I was once a DJ, so, you know, I don't know if that helps or hurts.
I know about DJs. No.
I did produce music and I am into film. So I think the worst I could find out is that you'll see that I love movies and I love film and, you know, only good stuff because I was raised by a good family. I had an amazing mom and dad who are no longer with us. I had amazing grandparents and, you know, they taught me and my sisters the right way to do things. You know, we stayed, you know, everyone gets into trouble as kids, but never anything major, you know, no jail time, no drugs. My family was very against doing any drugs. I've never, you know, I'm not one to do drugs. Even, you know, people have their own preferences. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm not into anything crazy. You know, I'm also not a square, right? I was a DJ. I like going out, having fun, like any normal person does. But, you know, what I think is that I have had such a great upbringing, even though we at times had a struggle. My mom was a single mom, you know, and my dad got into a lot of trouble when he was younger. And he said, you know what, son, life is like a road of life. It's like a highway. And he started telling me this story about the highway, about, hey, you know, you're gonna run into stuff and you know, you might break down, but you got to keep going. Don't make the mistakes that daddy made in his life. And I never forgot that. And I always said to myself, you know what? You know, even though we didn't come from money, we're not like super wealthy or whatever, we have wealth in other places. And those places are having a good family with a lot of love, the best grandparents in the world. And that's why me, my sisters have all stayed away from any, you know, trouble or anything bad because of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. And yeah, my question was a little bit joking, right? But also we have had candidates get up on stage, right? And be like, oh yeah, like I'm a Boy Scout, peace, right? And then like find out like, no, you are not a Boy Scout.
Yeah, no.
It's just better to ask you point blank, you know?
No, I could assure you I've never been on Jeffrey Epstein's plane or anything of the sort. So
well, thank God for that. And thank God for your family values. We appreciate them. All right, let's go to Chris and then we'll go to Coyote. Chris.
All right. Well, you know, there's been a lot of good questions. And so, you know, typically when we bring candidates in, we've gone through a vetting process, but that's not necessary because any friend of Augustus is a friend of ours, and especially a relative. So, you know, I think that I think it's important, you know, that when you have character like that to vouch for you, that you know that we point that out, and also, you know, elections and campaigns have mechanics, and it was told to us that you have been personally involved in other campaigns throughout your political aspirations, and so what's kind of the structure of your campaign, and what kind of sources are you depending on in terms of being able to finance that?
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. And yeah, Augustus is top of the line, great guy. You know, I'm happy and I'm very honored to have him as my brother-in-law, because he's a solid dude, a very talented dude. I'm sure many of you know he's super talented. So him and my sister are what you call a power team, and they're going to do great things themselves. So as far as my history in politics, I've worked on many campaigns that I was very selective in who I worked with. So I worked with candidates that I believe had the right message, from Senate candidates to congressional candidates. I was recruited to go across the country to be a digital director to help try and save Kelly Loeffler's seat when they were trying to take the Senate. You know, I got on that very, very late. I've tried to, you know, I've been on campaigns that have tried to take out Cory Booker and stuff, and it's very tough out here, but it's a noble fight. So when someone's doing something for the right reasons and, you know, they got the right message, I'm happy to do what I can. So I have a pretty good resume with that, and I think I've picked some good candidates to back up. As far as the structure of my campaign, you know, I'm a firm believer that if I'm going to go out there and ask people to donate and invest in me, that I want to show that I'm willing to invest in my own campaigns. So what I'm doing is I'm putting some of my own personal money into the race to make sure that we have all the necessities and the core functions running while people are starting to come on board and donate. And we've been getting a great response. The event I'm at tonight, I've met so many people that are just, you know, they've heard of me, they've seen me, and they're asking me to come and sit down with them, and they want to really support my campaign because they believe in the message. As far as the structure, we have one of the best, you know, we're going to run one of the best digital campaigns. That's my expertise. With the help of Stephanie and Augustus, we're going to do some great creative things when it comes to video and making sure we have all of that covered. Plus, we have a really big ground team, which is very important in this primary because it's a district that has about 150,000 people, but the target audience in this district is about 15,000. So we can knock on maybe, you know, 10 to 12,000 before the election, if not the 15. So we've constructed a team of about 15 to 20 people as of now, and it's still growing, that are going out during the week and that are going to each town and collecting signatures and handing out flyers and promo materials. So when it comes to the three facets of, we have the messaging, we have the digital ads going, and then we have the ground game. So we're a full campaign. I'd say it's 360 degrees, covering all the aspects that are very, very important. And I think the strongest piece of this campaign is going to be the messaging and making sure that I put out the messaging and people receive it. And once they receive it, I think we're going to have a really, really good night on June 10th.
I'd like to welcome Wake Up New Jersey account to the stage. They've played a very crucial role in getting the word out on X about the need to win the take back New Jersey, win the governor's race this year. So Rich, I want to introduce you. Rich is going to be running against an incumbent, the incumbent Republican slate in District 13 in Monmouth County. Rich has been up here for about a half an hour telling us how he's tired of the status quo and their kind of moderate rhinos that roll over for the Democrats. He's supporting NJ Doge. He's an America First guy. So Wake Up New Jersey, welcome. If you have a question for Rich or want to just make some comments about anything, we honored to have you on the stage. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate having me on, and thank you for enlightening me about the space, and thank you, Jennifer and Kimberly, for co-hosting and hosting respectively for the space as well. Rich, it's great to meet you. I've seen some of your posts and everything, and I'm excited for always a candidate who wants to take back the state and fix things for the better. So JP, you mentioned NJ Doge. That's something we're really heavily looking into in the waste in the state, and I'm hoping that's something that's really to be tackled. Rich, I don't know if you're aware, but we made a post today about the fact that we have something called SBCs, which are social benefit charges on your electric bills, and our electric vehicle mandates are baked into our electric bills. And if each one of your states, by the way, you should be checking into there. But Rich, I mean, I'm curious, like, what would you be doing to fix the budget here? We have a budget crisis and a fiscal crisis in the state.
Yeah, well, first off, it's nice to meet you. And yeah, I think it's ridiculous with the things that we see happening. I heard insurance is up 24%, and there's Murphy's leaving us with another $1 billion in tax increases. So it's insane, and people are just getting crushed. I think the first thing we need to do is we need to audit Trenton. We need to see where the money's going. We need to stop taking the Democrats' word for, oh, this is going here or going there, because we don't know. And I think the people who have been auditing are finding a lot of things, but it kind of falls to the wayside. So we need a sustained approach to this, to not just say, okay, you're wasting money and then forget about it and just go about regular business like, oh, we don't have the numbers, we can't get it done. I think we need to just keep hammering them nonstop. Just keep hammering them. Let's take some notes out of the Democrat playbook. When they can't win against Trump, they just keep hammering it. And what it does is eventually, even though it's the most insane things they do and they make no sense, if you have actual commonsensical solutions to things and you keep hammering it, even if we don't have the numbers right now, you never know. If we take back the governorship this year and we can win and flip some seats, and we have people elected on the Republican side who are going to be vocal and not just back down, and they're worried that they're not going to get along with the Democrats, or they're going to try to run someone that's stronger against them, or one of their county chairs might be in bed with the Republican chair and they might primary them. We need somebody who's ready to take bold action, and it's not just going to be me alone. There needs to be multiple people who get in this, but I'm happy to carry the torch for this as much as I can. I think auditing Trenton, finding out where everything is going, coming up with not only the detailed solutions, but also coming up with I'd say, building the momentum to get people excited about fixing this stuff. I have a lot of economic policies that I would like to implement. And I think one of the things we're missing out that can fix the budget crisis in the state is, obviously, the property taxes is one of the biggest issue out here, and the pensions and the funding formulas. But I think one thing we're missing out here is that we're just not incentivizing businesses to come and invest in the state. You have New York that is literally going through crisis, and they're scaring people away. Those businesses are jumping over New Jersey and going to other states, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Texas. They're going all over there. Why don't they just come here, set up shop, give them incentives to get jobs into this state? Let's give them the ability to hire people, to start generating revenue here. And I've said something from the beginning, and maybe people will think it's far-fetched, but I said New Jersey has the ability to become the Silicon Valley of the East again. And why I say that is because if you think about it, New Jersey was the place where Thomas Edison was, where Nikola Tesla worked out of, right? In Rahway, and Edison in Menlo Park, and Marconi. We had the technology hub that transformed America was right here in New Jersey.
Einstein in Princeton.
Exactly. You think about it. People don't know. A lot of people don't notice that we can once again attract these businesses that are going to be at the forefront of generating revenue in the new economy, 2.0 economy, and the future economy. They can come from New York City. That's absolutely they're being annihilated there with all these insane policies. Come here, set up shop, give them the incentive, bring in a huge amount of revenue, and then when we go to Trenton, we stop all the crazy spending and all the ridiculous things that they're doing. That's the macro approach to it. You know, when we have longer form conversation, not to bore everybody with the line item by line item, that's when you got to go into the Doge policy and go line item by line item and make sure that we're not spending things on ridiculous policies like the plastic bag, paper bags, plastic straws, ridiculous things that I guarantee consultants and companies are making millions of. So that's my approach to it. And I think that's where we start.
Let me tell you another added. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say, I don't know how long we have Rich here for, and I know there's people down there that want to talk the Epstein stuff. We had this, space plan for a while. So once we get through the New Jersey stuff, we can switch over to the Epstein stuff. So just hold your questions. And then, Rich, I don't know what time you're here till. I know how busy you probably are. So just let us know when you got to leave.
Yeah, I can take one or two more, and then I have to head back into this. We're at a charity event in Asbury Park raising food for, there's an organization called Mercy, and we're raising money for Hungary tonight.
Okay, I see some hands up. I see it, Johnny. Johnny, go ahead. Ask a question.
Hey, how's it going, Rich? I really appreciate a lot of the stuff you've been saying. Really identify with a lot of that stuff. I born and raised in New Jersey. Grew up in Ocean County. Been living in Hudson for the last couple of years, working in the city. Much like yourself, my background's also in advertising, PR, digital campaigns. Did a little stint in politics. Hope you won't automatically kick me for this. I actually did a summer internship with Cory Booker out of Camden. I've since learned the error of my ways. Come around.
Oh my God!
All right, next question. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Did he hit on you?
Totally understand. Also come from a working class family. You know, my father was a police officer. Mother sold real estate for about 30 years, you know, down the shore where I grew up. Really appreciate you talking about a lot of these different issues. Kind of curious, you know, as far as your campaign, your rollout, heard you talk about a lot of different national issues and some issues on the state level. Property taxes being a big one, you know, as somebody who's planning to eventually own a home and hopefully raise a family in the state. I was kind of curious if you've been keeping up, you know, your policy as far as energy. You know, I know the BPU has been pretty hot button issue lately. A lot of local reps, Van Drew, some local mayor coalition just put out a letter today, I think, about all the proposed rate hikes that are going on that are kind of hurting folks. I'm sure you're also well aware of the kind of disastrous wind farm efforts that have been going on for the last couple of years off our coasts that have been thankfully, you know, blocked by the current administration. I was kind of curious to hear what your thoughts are on that front.
Sure. Well, I think it's very simple. I think it's just another one of these things where it's a noble cause to try to find new energies that are efficient and save money, but it's actually gotten so bad where it's become this almost the energy part of it is actually gone now. It's more about what group can come up with some idea or push a narrative that, you know, solar or you know, whatever, wind or all these things are the next wave of the future, which maybe at some point they could be or they could have been, but there's so much intertwined with it and people making money off of it and being able to suck out money from the government and the state government that it has actually lost the ability to come up with these energies that maybe could have been a real good option for us. So I'm not one that's going to sit here and say we need to do A or B. What I think we need to do is we need to make sure is that we're not crushing the people more than they need to be crushed. If you told me, you know, solar energy was able to do wonders and you could prove it and it was the cost of the energy was lower and everything about it was better, I don't think any of us would have a problem with it. But what we find out is that's not the case. They overpromise, underdeliver, overcharge. And what's it do? It hurts the people. So again, look, I don't think we need to put, you know, windmills or, you know, wind turbines on the Jersey Shore and destroy the shore. That's something I think is ridiculous because there's a lot of environmental things I don't agree with that. You kill a lot of the animals. You do a lot of bad things to the environment. And if you actually look into it, I think it takes more refining of oil, I read something on, to create these things than it does to actually run like oil refineries. So I think there's a lot of misinformation about it. I think they're using it, and I think a lot of these groups use it to suck money out of the government under these programs of renewable energies and all that. And listen, if we have to, if we have to look into other energy forms, whether it's nuclear or, clean coal or natural gas, things that have the ability to power homes and to do it the right way and save people money so that they don't have another burden on their back, with property taxes and income taxes and on business taxes. Now their energy bills are skyrocketing because we want to appease some company that wants to put all of this, all of these alternative energy sources out there that are not working properly or delivering what they should. So I think it's really gotten too intertwined with people making too much money that if there ever was any promise for them, I think right now it's never going to work because it's just too many people getting rich and under delivering what they really promised they could deliver with these other types of energy.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Diversification's the way to go. I've had wind farms as clients and I've had natural gas companies as clients. Nuclear's a big issue too. Grew up near the Oyster Creek old plant. They're even talking about refiring it nowadays. So I think that's totally the way to go. And totally
They shut down Oyster Creek, and then now all of a sudden we're all paying like 40% more for our electric because they're buying electric from out of state, and we're having to pay for it to be shipped in here. And then at the same time, a few years ago, they killed the natural gas pipeline that was going to run from Pennsylvania over to New Jersey, which was going to give us cheap, affordable natural gas. But they didn't want a pipeline run across a big empty part of, forest of South Jersey. So that got killed. So the Democrats just keep killing every energy policy in the name of, climate change and environmentalism. And it's costs us, billions of dollars. I want to kind of move through the hands a little quickly because I know time is cheap. Yeah, thank you very much, Johnny. Great questions.
JP, can I just jump in real quick and then we get to the hands? I just have
one
little thing I want to say is just if you guys are feeling activated, if you're feeling like you want to mobilize, you want to get involved, you like what you're hearing, you like Rich, I encourage you to tap the link at the top of the space and check out his website. If you want to get involved in any way, definitely reach out to me, reach out to Rich, and we could get you guys mobilized and activated in any which way, shape, or form you feel compelled to do so. I really appreciate everybody involved, especially Jen and Kim and JP and Adam, for putting this together for us. It really does mean the world to us. And just thank you. And thank you to all the listeners that came out tonight. And with that being said, JP, I'm going to just shoot it back to you.
Okay. JP might be busy. All right. So Rich, I know you. Oh, okay. Rich, I know you have to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
This is awkward. Just someone help me out here.
Why don't we go? Why don't we take one more hand and then can you do that, Rich?
Yeah, I could take one more, then I'm going to head back into this charity event.
All right. Mauricio, do you want to go? And then we'll wrap up with Rich and then move on to Epstein.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. I just have a question. I've been trying to get the answer to this question, and I'm actually reading it. I just want clarification if anybody up here has a better understanding of this here with Southern District of New York. Now, we're talking about the police department, or
hold on.
Mauricio, that's for after Rich is done. Why don't you save that question for after Rich?
Rich is standing outside an event right now. Rich, we really appreciate you being here. Feel free to just go back to your event. We don't want to hold you anymore.
No, it's fine. Listen, thank you. Listen, I just want to thank you, Jennifer, JP, and Kimberly for having me, Augustus, everyone else, Wake Up New Jersey, Club Maha, Ian, everybody who joined today, each and every one of you. don't have time to go through all the names, but thank you for having me. Thank you for listening to my answers. Thank you for the great questions. You guys asked a lot of great questions. You could go to my website, CastaldoForAssembly.com. If anybody's in the New Jersey area and wants to come out with us and knock on doors and get involved, listen, I will greatly appreciate it. If not, you want to do other things and just share the message, share the word out there on X or anywhere else, that's good as well. So thank you all. Thank you for having me tonight, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you. Have a great night.
Thanks, Rich.
We look forward to helping you in the future, so feel free to come back. We can hold another space for you as it gets closer and get some momentum out there for you. But thanks, Rich, and we appreciate you stepping up to the plate and actually running for office instead of just talking about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I will be back. Thanks so much. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks. Hey, Trash, thanks for joining us. We're actually just kind of going back to the Epstein stuff. We had Rich join us, who is running for office in New Jersey. So I'm going to adjust the title, retweet the space, guys. If you already did, unretweet it and retweet it again, and we'll get back to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. But Trash, I think everybody is missing the huge part, and this is why I commented on your post and why I have the space labeled the way I do, is because the story here is that we have rogue government agencies disobeying the direct orders of the people in D.C.
Well, and that's exactly right. That's been my take for quite some time. Matter of fact, Savvy and I were on the phone about this yesterday, and I almost called this word for word. There's why that she posted on here as well in this thread. Earlier today, I was talking to her and I was like, I'm glad to know that the Epstein, flight log can help us stop inflation, immigration, deportations, clean up the administrative state, and get the right people in the administration to fix the country. Oh, wait, those flight logs that I guarantee is what's going to come out, mostly stuff that we've already seen. Is going to help fix anything. So I saw no value. This is something I was saying yesterday. Today, I saw a lot, and I don't know if you saw this clip, Jen. Matter of fact, from Nick Freitas, but it pretty much sums up exactly what I thought. So I had put this little mini thread together, right? Because I had seen, Michael Schellenberger talking about, someone coming to him and saying, "Look, we got evidence that they're withholding thousands of pages of documents and recordings and video and all these things out of the Southern District of the New York FBI field office, and that not everything is going to hit Bondi's desk." So she put this letter out to Kash Patel, and I'm going to read it for everybody if they haven't seen it yet. I'm going to read it. This is very important to listen to it. This is from the Office of the Attorney General on February 27th, which is today. "Dear Director Patel, before you came to my office, I requested a full and complete file related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received a full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with the law, as I have done with my entire career as a prosecutor. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order of the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. So it's She wants all this information on her desk by tomorrow. And then within 14 days, wants a comprehensive, basic investigative report of findings of proposed personnel action. So people that were within this FBI office who did part of the withholding or even destruction of these things lied about, were part of, which I think we're going to find out James Comey's daughter is going to be part of that group. Ain't going to be good for her, by the way. I believe her name is Maureen. Within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we've both committed to transparency for the American people. I look forward to continuing work to serve with you for our president, our country. Before I make a comment on that, I don't think you've seen this video because it uploaded and I posted it to this thread while you had the space open, Jen. It's only about 1:19, but this is exactly what I said about what happened today and what I believe is going on behind the scenes. And remember, the reason I read that letter ahead of time was this is before Cash was even in at the FBI. So Cash wasn't even the FBI director at the time when she was pushing, as she had just become AG. And one of the first promises was to get the Epstein information out. And she was trying to fulfill that. And she was being obstructed and lied to by the Southern District Field Office FBI. Now, what's interesting is that Nick actually receives one of these binders as he holds up in this video. It's about 1:19. But I want you guys to listen very closely to this. And then you and I can bounce back on our takes on this. But there's a reason I know that you posted this space in my thread of this stuff that I was talking about, because I'm just so frustrated with people saying, arrest them all, arrest them now. And I'm like, guys, there's investigations, there's co-investigations that probably are going on even right now. There are investigations of people that never flew on that damn plane or went to that damn island that are connected with people that are going to be on there. And if they learn that there's an investigation into that person going on right now at the FBI, and there's investigations going here and there and everywhere, it could completely screw up the other investigations of people that are criminals that are connected to them. And so there is a bit of a kid club thing going on here. People aren't going to like that. People are going to accuse me, which I've already been accused a million times. Like, you should see my comments. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't care. I'm not going to respond to the people. The only people I'm going to respond to are asking genuine questions, have genuine doubt, as people should, as I do. I think that's healthy, which is why I led that post off with, please, for the love of God, have discernment. Part of discernment is having doubt and asking questions. So that's okay. But I'm getting a bunch of dumb shit.
No, it's honestly out of control.
But listen, but listen.
Yeah, play that video and then
Yes, I'm saying. So listen to Nick here. I think he says exactly the same thing that I told Savvy earlier, last night, today, especially. But and then he's got he in part of it. He does hold up the actual binder, so he's got the binder right. So listen to this.
All right, social media has been blowing up, and I think it has something to do with that right there.
That was the binder.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I was in the room when Pam Bondi and Cash Patel, the Attorney General and the Director of the FBI, were handing these out. And right off the bat, one of the first things they said was, we're going to be releasing this to the public. What you need to understand is that there really isn't a smoking gun in the new information that we have available, except for the fact that it has become evident that certain members of the FBI have been withholding information from the Attorney General's office. Now, the AG has been pursuing this, but now we have a new director of the FBI, Cash Patel. So what we finally have is an Attorney General and a director of the FBI that actually wants to get to the bottom of this and will hold accountable not only the people on the Epstein list, but the people within the government who have been withholding key information in order to subvert prosecution. Now, as information becomes available, they have to be careful because they have to weigh what they need to get out to the public at the same time that they're going to need to be able to prosecute certain individuals. So I understand that. Here's what I'm saying. I know we're all frustrated about this because we should have had a lot more information a lot sooner. But I genuinely believe that we have people in power now that want to do something about it. And quite frankly, I'm willing to let them cook.
I'm willing to let them cook myself. But That's just me, and I'm gonna get hate for
That's
that.
what I've been.
So, no, I'm just saying, I'm gonna get hate for it. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah, but no, it's not even hate, right? Like it's being logical, right? And these, like I've been saying all day, first of all, everybody right now who's on that list needs to talk about where they were, what they were doing, right? But also you have to realize these things are part of investigation. These people have had at least a 4 or 5 year lead time on their names coming out. They've known this was going to happen, right? This isn't coming as a shock to anybody, right? And honestly, like it makes me angry because like right now you have Doge exposing that people who are in office right now, as we speak, committed fraud, exploited the American taxpayer, right? Committed treason against our country. All of this is being exposed, and everybody's sitting here yelling about damn names on a list we already know that have already been out there. And now everybody's talking about the Epstein list, which I'm sorry to inform y'all, none of us can really do anything about anybody's name on that list except hold them account in the court of public opinion. That's all we got, right? So instead of us concentrating on the elected officials and the people in DC who committed treason, we are now again distracted by the Jeffrey Epstein file that we can do nothing about.
That's exactly right. And that's why I led my post off with this thread that I'm talking about, that I had all this. This is why I said what I said, and I'll read it for the whole room if you guys didn't read it. Be very careful and discerning of people trying to sow doubt and despair. It's now confirmed that the SDNI, which I should have added, the Southern District FBI field office, has been holding on to, and in some cases, I imagine, destroying evidence that is supposed to be on Bondi's desk tomorrow by 8 a.m. What I hear none of you talking about is how to fix the government and confirm and get the rest of these people into their positions while removing the bad actors from their cushy, useless jobs. I talked about it last night. We have some exciting new confirmations and appointments coming in to do some real cleanup. That's what I started that thread with. And then I ended it basically. I added a few little, caveats. I added the letter. I added Cash Patel's comment that he made about an hour ago. But I finished it with what I said was, I've said all I'm going to say about this. I'm done with it. There's nothing I can do about it. Here's what I said. I said, I'm not arguing with anyone on this anymore. I've said all I needed to say about this. I have too much other work groups, and getting this administration off the ground to fight with them, and then to be fighting with emotional people who aren't thinking practically. So that's, this is just where I'm at with this thing.
Well, and also, like, listen, I'm not happy about the influencer thing, right? I'm not. But I know one person who I see, right? Scott Pressler, he held up his journalistic integrity. He did not go out and blurt about everything that was in that binder. Guess what, people? There is a bigger game happening here, right? And for us to go out and start degrading people and degrading the administration that's standing up for us because it wasn't done the way you thought it should be done is freaking stupid right now. Right? Like, we need this information. And again, I point out, why are we not talking about Doge? What did Doge do today? What else happened in the news today? Why all of us were trying to figure out whose name was on a list so we can then go write an angry post about how your name was on Jeffrey Epstein's list, why they get on a private plane to a non-extradition country and tell everybody to F you can't extradite me. Or in the case of the FBI, which is why I keep pointing this out. Okay, you have the Southern District of New York, which is under the DOJ. You have the FBI, who turned around to Pam Bondi's face, to Donald Trump's face, and said, we are turning over all of the documents, all 200 pages of the Jeffrey Epstein file that you are asking for. Here it is, run with it. And then somehow They found out last night that there are thousands of pages being withheld by a rogue government agency. So instead of attacking the influencers, we need to be screaming about the rogue FBI in Southern District of New York that just lied to the president and lied to Pam Bondi and didn't do the totally in dereliction of duty. Right. And if you don't think that if they are willing to lie about this and lie to the president, that they won't go rogue and start going after everybody else, right? Guess what? They will, people. They've already broken the law. They don't care. They're not adhering to the Constitution. You need to realize this. This is why this is the biggest story going, is the fact that they told the administration to F off. Okay, I only see two hands. I'm going to go Dallas and then wake up.
Let me just finish that point then. Here's what I want to say. Also, you guys are, these people are spending an awful lot of time yelling at Kash Patel, who's just been in as director of the FBI in less than a week. You're yelling at Pam Bondi, who's been AG for what? A few more days more than Kash Patel himself as AG. Meanwhile, all of these years going all the way back to Palm Beach, that everyone buried all of this and kept going, burying all of this because he was an FBI informant and he was an FBI blackmail artist and an intelligence community blackmailer. And we're going to get mad at Pam and Kash before they even had time to rub their eyes sitting at their desk for a few days. Get the fuck out of here. Please stop with the emotional nonsense.
All right, Dallas, wake up, and then please retweet the space. Go ahead, Dallas.
Thanks, Jen. I apologize if I skip anyone's hands. I don't see any hands, so I'll keep it short and concise. Thanks for the mic. Trash, it's me, by the way. But anyway, as far as New York, as a New Yorker, Jennifer nailed every single thing she said about New York. The corruption is so bad that they have the fucking balls to fight the Department of Justice, this current administration. This is how big the pile of shit is that's coming down from Albany, all the way from top. And I always say this, a fish stinks from the head. Albany down to New York State. I'm not going to go through all the names. Well said, Jen. And I land right there. Thanks.
Thanks, Dallas. Appreciate you. Wake up, jump in here.
You kind of stole my thunder with your thing about, be mad about like Doge and be mad about like things that they're actually doing here. I look at like the Epstein list as like a major distraction that was done on purpose to really divide people and to sow fear and not fear, but division within this administration. And I think people need to focus on what is important. Your wallets are being harmed every single day by the budgets in your states in this country, and these illegal immigrants, rummaging and riling up your states. In my state of New Jersey, they're trying to stall ICE, taking away criminals, and it's just nuts. So everybody just needs to remember this whole thing, this administration is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you want things done at a snap of fingers, you're not going to be happy about it. So just take your time, let the information digest, focus on what's important. And what's important is your time. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. Make sure you use it wisely. Is the Epstein list really the most important thing for you to be focusing on, or making sure that your family has food on the table and that you can maybe take that family vacation, have that home, and retire and not be working to your 95. So, I'll land my plane on that. It's one thing, bring that up. Thank you, John, for hosting the space, by the way, again.
You're welcome. Wake up. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here with the candidate. Like I said before, if you want to give to the candidate, the information is up in the nest. If you want to come up and speak, request a mic, and then we'll go to
Mauricio.
I'm going to butcher
Mauricio.
your name. There we go, Mauricio.
Okay, again, thanks for the opportunity. So my question earlier was because I'm trying to get a better understanding of what's going on here with Southern District of New York. Now, are we talking about the police department, or are we talking about the FBI? Are we talking about both agencies? Because I know they're hand in hand.
in New York. So the DOJ is broke up into districts all over the nation. So this is the Southern District jurisdiction of the DOJ.
Yeah, Jen, you're rugging a little bit. Mauricio,
Is that Homeland Security,
No, FBI field office.
NYPD, FBI? And so this isn't the police department that had their hands on the Wiener laptop, right? Because I'm reading some information here. SDNY was handling Wiener evidence collection, Clinton
And not only that, the Hunter Biden laptop was turned over to them in 2019, and they held the evidence and didn't do anything about it and protected him. The Southern District of New York is completely corrupt. And can you guys hear me? Or am
no,
I
you're
rugged?
good now.
Okay, so literally the Southern District, I was raided. Dustin and I and Steve Bannon and all of us were raided by the Southern District of New York, right? Like all of the prosecutions coming against Trump, all of the Wiener, all of the Hunter Biden, everything is coming out of the Southern District of New York. The rogue DOJ was using the Southern District as their outpost to run their rogue shit out of and to carry out unconstitutional and against the law actions, because the actual DOJ would never, sign off on that, because you just don't do that. Yet the Southern District took it upon themselves to become the head of the rogue DOJ snake.
Well, and don't forget, out of that same FBI field office, which is the second largest in the country, aside from DC, your top dog cyber terrorist task force SAC chief, Charles McGonigal, is going to be serving time in federal prison for taking bribes from an Albanian prime minister in cash and helping, actually, the Chinese bring in oil pipelines, and then helping basically the Sinaloa cartel get deals for their brother to do contracting deals, and in turn bringing a ton of fentanyl into Mexico that comes into the United States. That was Charles McGonigal, who is the SAC chief for the cyber terrorism unit in that same FBI field office, by the way.
Yeah, and I just want to, to answer my own question from earlier, thank you, America Mission, for posting this. Today in Doge, we have $60 million for Indigenous people and Afro-Colombian empowerment, $74 million for inclusive justice in Colombia, $79 million for primary literacy in Kenya, $37 million for female empowerment in Colombia, $8 million for reducing the stigma, discrimination, and violence against the LGBTQI plus communities in Lalestro. Where the fuck is that? $3.3 million for being LGBTQI in the Caribbean, and $25,000 to increase the vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia.
Also, $2 trillion in Medicaid to people overseas. $2 trillion with a T. With a T.
Jen, I maintain my position that the majority of those line items are completely fraudulent. I don't think that they're actually real expenses as described. I think that money is going somewhere else or to something else. And I think that investigations are going to follow. Right now, we're just getting the actual accounting for where they say the money's going. But I predict that the Trump administration is going to do a deep dive to make sure that the money got where it was supposed to, because I don't think it did. I think it's all fake. I think it's fake accounting.
You mean the $13 million that went to Pakistani LGBTQ education?
Yeah,
didn't go there.
How about 17 million to Norm Eisen's foundation that created a puppet show?
He just got busted.
So I have a question. The LGBTQIA plus, does that include the pedophiles?
MAPs, yeah, it includes them, definitely.
Yeah, it includes PDF files.
Okay, so
yes.
we're at least we're supporting the pedophiles in other countries. It's not just American pedophiles that we're supporting. We're actually supporting pedophiles worldwide.
Trash, let me throw this at you real quick. We were talking about the SDNY and what happened here today with Pam Bondi and the Epstein files. I am of the mindset that this seems like the Trump administration laid a trap, and that the SDNY walked right into it, and that they withheld evidence. And now Pam Bondi and Kash Patel have the justification to open an investigation into what happened there. And we have potential criminal conduct by people in those offices, both in the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI field office in New York, that could result in the complete gutting of those offices. I think it was a trap. I think it was too easy. What do you think about that?
I tend to agree. And that's why such a spectacle was made on phase one, especially with influencers. I actually agree with this. Somebody had proposed that earlier in the thread when I was when I was just talking about this stuff earlier. They said, what if, maybe that this was actually all by design?
This is literally what I said in Delicate Space earlier.
Oh, really? Yeah, I said, yeah, it actually proves that we have a rogue FBI in the Southern District of New York. It actually does prove that. So I very much think that this spectacle was the trap.
All right, so I see the freaking Star Trek guy. Go ahead.
Asclepius. It's an old Greek thing. You can look it up if you want. He's pretty cool. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on what Trash Panda. I'm sorry, I don't see your full name. I can only assume it's that. But isn't redress of the government like enshrined in our First Amendment? I mean, even if it is, yes, all these people are emotionally throwing themselves at, whoever is not doing however fast. Isn't it okay that we have the ability to do that? And now with the technology, we can literally just do it anytime we want.
Sure.
And
I'm sorry, I'll let you finish. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to, okay, I'm kind of nervous. Sorry. But the reason this is touching so deeply on people is this is not just like the horrible, corruption and all this stuff. People are fucking our kids. And I am a survivor myself. And watching this whole thing unfold over the years, it is a goddamn roller coaster. It strikes right down to that. So people do have legitimate reasons to be upset about this. I'm one of them. And I have been patiently waiting. And the only real issue I have is they put themselves out there. And yeah, it was probably a trick. That makes a lot of sense. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. But I just wanted to say that it's not just all these people being completely out of their mind, emotional. This is drawing on a silent part of the society that nobody talks about. And it's coming out. All the anger is coming out when stuff like this happens. And it's hard to put that toothpaste back in the bottle. And that's all. I just wanted to say that. Thank you for letting me talk.
Yeah, and I'll clarify a few things about myself because you and I, obviously, this is you. We haven't met. My full name that I go by is Trash Discourse. Trash Panda works. Aaron works. Hey Dipshit works just fine as well. Hey Stupid Raccoon Face works fine as well. Anything that you choose, I'll pick up on it. I get it. No problem. No offense. Let me be clear about something about what I've done and how I handle things on Twitter. While people are emotional, I try to remain practical, logical, and I try to dig up as many receipts and proof of things that are going on when they're going on, so it can actually have like a practical understanding so we can move forward. And sometimes I have to remove the element of emotion out of it, because once you become reactionary, you're in a constant state of being reactionary, and that's when they've got you. And that's when you get, squirrel. Oh, squirrel. Oh, I'm looking at something else. Oh, I'm getting mad about this, or I'm getting mad about that. I become in a complete emotional state, and I can no longer think clearly. And so I am not taking away from the fact that people should be absolutely outraged that we still don't even have this information. And people have every right to be angry. I just don't misplace it at people like me who are just trying to get to the facts, that are trying to lay it down so you do at least have a voice of reason. I just try to be a voice of reason. I'm not trying to take away anyone's right to be upset, especially with things that go on, because I understand you being upset, and I get pissed off about a lot of things too. It's just how I handle myself and carry myself on social media, because social media and the stuff that I dealt with censorship industrial complex and psychological operations and influence operations, I've seen deep into the heart of the belly of the beast of this kind of stuff. And so I remain at 30,000 feet when I'm looking at something. But, and I'm terribly sorry of what happened to you in your life. And I stand up for the victims, and I would do anything to bring justice to anyone that was harmed in this way. I believe in protecting our children, but I just wanted to kind of give you kind of an understanding of where I'm coming from on things. And you have every right to be angry, but I just want to also remind people that just because you're angry doesn't mean that we can't be practical and move into a direction where we can actually affect real results and get real things done versus, oh, we got to win today. At least we got something out of this and we're good to go and we're done. That kind of stuff, because that happens too.
For sure. Well, guys, I don't see any other hands. And honestly, I've been at this for a couple hours and I kind of want to shut it down. So if there's any last minute points, otherwise, I'm going to shut it down. Mauricio, jump in here.
Real quick, and thank you for helping me understand these things better. I've been following the corruption at this New York thing since Anthony Weiner's laptop was confiscated by New York Police Department. And well, the information that was coming out from that investigation was very disturbing. And when the FBI took over the laptop, that's when the investigation kind of got buried. And in fact, many officers who were looking into the laptop wound up dead under mysterious circumstances later on, according to my understanding. And I had no idea that they had their hands on Biden's laptop. I mean, it's something.
I'm pretty sure I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm pretty sure they're the ones running the Diddy case too.
Yeah, so DHS made that arrest originally, and now they're handling that case there. That's correct.
And so there's a disturbing trend. Is like it seems like a lot of crossover. So, I mean, if Kash Patel is in charge now, I think that should be the first place that he cleans up house and really like takes it back to that time. Because if we cannot deal with these things in chronological order and we're just gonna like skip around, it just doesn't look good. It's not a good look for our country or for the way that justice is delivered. That's what I have to say.
Excellent. Jennifer, I do see a couple other hands. Do you want to take them? And Wake Up New Jersey has his hand up in Dallas.
Oh shit, yeah. Sorry. It's not showing.
Sure. Wake Up. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for hosting the space. I know you're trying to, you got to close it down and everything. And you guys just watch out for the distractions. And as I said before, just remember, it's going to be a long process. As remember how long the last 4 years were? Just at each and every day, just try to do something productive that's going to help your state out, help your federal government, and just don't get bogged down by the distractions. And Jennifer, again, thank you for hosting the space. Kimberly, JP, thanks for co-hosting, and thank you for having me on here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Go ahead,
Appreciate
Dallas.
you. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, I just want to say this very short and simple and respectfully to all the listeners that New York Attorney General Letitia James is a whore.
Here. I'll end with this. I know that Donald Trump loves New York. Donald Trump's heart is in New York. He's from Queens. He made his fortune in Manhattan. He is deeply hurt by the way that the state of New York has and the Democrat Party there and the Democrat machine have worked to try to destroy him and his business and his reputation. And Donald Trump wants to take New York back. And I see the cleansing of the SDNY offices from the U.S. Attorney and the FBI field office there as a major step towards cleaning up that state, because that is where the investigations and the charges would come from for official misconduct by state officials in the state of New York. So you got to look at this as a chess game. Donald Trump is always thinking 3 to 5 moves ahead, getting the right people, getting Trump administration people in charge of the SDNY in New York is going to open up a lot of avenues to help New York get back on track and deal with the corruption. So I think that that's what we're looking at here, and I'm bullish on New York. I think we're in good shape moving forward. Go ahead, Jen.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody.
Well, I want to
thanks for
say
being
something.
here. And also, oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for being here. And I wanted to thank all of our streamers on Rumble and Pill.net, Kick.com, YouTube, X Live, and of course, everybody listening on Spaces. If you have a candidate that, is going to be running, we would love to have them on. We'd love to get the candidates up talking about the current events going on and have them weigh in so that we can see them in real life situations. We've got lots of elections that are going to be coming up here in local markets. So, feel free to reach out to us. Make sure you're following America Mission. It's the flag on, well, it's not on the stage, but it should be close to the stage. And if you can, go out and subscribe. It's $2 a month. We'd love to have you. And thank you, everybody, for coming.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. And follow America Mission. And if you want to donate to Rich, it's up in the nest. Thanks, guys. Good night. Bye.